I welcome you to this session of ISO 14000-2015, and today we are going to talk about clause number 6.1.2, which is environmental aspects. So as usual, first of all, I'll read out the requirement to you as given in the standard. Clause 6.1.2, environmental aspects. Within the defined scope of the environmental management system, the organization shall determine the environmental aspects of its activities, products and services that it can control and those that it can influence and their associated environmental impacts considering a life cycle perspective. When determining the environmental aspects, the organization shall take into account A and B. There are 2 points. Change including planned or new developments and new or modified activities, products and services. And B is abnormal conditions and reasonably foreseeable emergency situations. Next para says, the organization shall determine these aspects that have or can have a significant environmental impact, that is, significant environmental aspects, by using established criteria. The organization shall communicate its significant environmental aspects among the various levels and functions of the organization as appropriate. The organization shall communicate its environmental aspects among the various levels and functions of the organization as appropriate. The organization shall maintain documented information of its, there are 3 points, environmental aspects and associated environmental impacts, criteria used to determine its significant environmental aspects, and significant environmental aspects themselves. And there is a note below, the significant environmental aspects can result in risks and opportunities associated with their adverse environmental impacts, that is threats, or beneficial environmental impacts, that is opportunities. So that's all in this clause, and now let us discuss it in more detail. Well, as the title says, we are talking about the environmental aspects. Well, aspects may relate to any activity, product or service of the organization. Please listen carefully. Aspects can relate to any activity, product or service of the organization. So we have to scan all the products, activities and services of the organization to find out which are the environmental aspects. Okay, so within the defined scope of the environmental management system, that is where it is applicable, on what sections it is applicable, and what are the boundaries of its applications, we have to consider that. And within the defined scope of the environmental management system, the organization or the company shall determine the environmental aspects of its activities, products and services. So aspects and impacts. Well, aspects are related to activities or products or services, and one aspect may have several impacts. For example, if a DG set is running, it is creating noise pollution because of its noise. It is creating sound pollution, and it is also creating air pollution because exhaust gases are coming out, and it is radiating heat. So heat pollution So several pollutions may be related to one aspect. So one aspect may have several impacts. So that aspect you should keep in mind. And when determining environmental aspects, the organization shall take into account: number A, change including planned or new developments and new or modified activities, products and services. So anything new which we have taken into consideration, that has to be considered while finding out the aspects and impacts of the organization. And abnormal conditions and reasonably foreseeable emergency situations have also to be considered. The organization shall determine these aspects that have or can have a significant environmental impact, that is, significant environmental aspects, by using established criteria. So we have to establish a criteria for determining which aspects and impacts we are going to choose. And for this we have to have a tabular format in which we will write what are the aspects and what are the related impacts, and which impacts are having legal requirements associated with them, and they all will become our important aspects, or we will say obligations to carry out actions for limiting those aspects. Okay. Now the organization shall determine these aspects that have or can have a significant environmental impact, that is, significant environmental aspects, by using established criteria. So the criteria has to be established, and accordingly the impacts have to be evolved. Aspects we should write down, and corresponding impacts we have to also find out and write them down, and see whether any one of them is involved in any of the acts given out by the organization, given out by the government, so that if they attract the attention of any act, then they become necessary for compliance by the organization. So the organization shall communicate its significant environmental aspects among the various levels and functions of the organization as appropriate. So we have to list these and communicate these within the organization for compliance. The organization shall maintain documented information, that means the records of all these things, the environmental aspects and associated environmental impacts, and criteria used to determine its environmental aspects. So the criteria has to be defined, and the significant environmental aspects have got to be those where the legal aspects are involved, where there is an act to be followed or government regulation to be followed. And there is a note below which says significant environmental aspects can result in risks and opportunities both associated with their adverse environmental impacts, threats, or beneficial environmental impacts, that means opportunities. So we have to find out both the threats and opportunities relating to the various aspects and the consequent impacts of those aspects. I hope you have understood the requirement relating to environmental aspects fully and completely, but by any chance, if there is anything which is not clear to you, please give your comment below this video and I'll try to explain to you once again. And if you are liking my videos, please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and and also share it with your friends and colleagues who are dealing with ISO 14000, so that they can also take advantage of whatever exchange of knowledge is taking place between us. And lastly, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon so that as and when I load my videos, the information will reach you without any delay and you will be able to see those things. Okay, I hope you have understood the requirement fully and completely, but as I told you, by any chance, if there is anything which is not clear to you, then please let me know. Put your comments below this video and I'll try to explain to you once again. So that's all for today, and next Sunday we shall be discussing clause number 6.1.3, that is compliance obligations. Those aspects and impacts which are necessarily to be we have to be compliant about them. Those we shall discuss next Sunday, and see you again next Sunday. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye. See you.